Hello and welcome to the Middle Earth Hobby channel. This is my first profile review. It's a format that I've not seen in the community too much, so I'm going to give it a go, and if anybody's interested in it or has any feedback, you can let me know. The first profile I'm going to start with is Uruk-hai Scouts, because at the moment I'm painting up a lot of Uruk-hai Scouts and they seem to be a popular kind of model and profile that people are talking about in the hobby due to the Quest of the Ringbearer release, which has them in the Lurtz Scouts Legendary Legion. So I think that it's a profile that's probably in a lot of players' minds, and I'm going to talk about basically its stats and maybe more about how it fits into that particular Legendary Legion, because it can be a really interesting combination if you're taking them with certain things. Okay, so Uruk-hai Scouts are 8 points. They're 1 point less than the Uruk-hai Warriors. Their faction is Isengard, like the Uruk-hai Warriors. You can take a Uruk-hai bow with a scout for 1 point, which is pretty cheap, given that it's a strength 3 bow. Most of the bows in the games are strength 2. It's an 18-inch range bow as well. That's not great, but strength 3, 18 inches is pretty good. You can have a shield for 1 point, and you can add a banner for 25 points. So I find that the most interesting thing there, the add-on that you can get, is the Uruk-hai bow. But we'll talk a little bit more about why I find that interesting in a while. So the movement is 6 inches, pretty standard. Fight 4 with a 4+ shoot, meaning that you're rolling 4s to hit if you do take a bow. Strength 4. That's pretty general. That's the going rate for Uruk-hai Warriors. Defense 4. Now this is why I think they're a little bit cheaper than Uruk-hai Warriors, because Uruk-hai Warriors are usually strength 5 and they go to 6 with a shield. So I guess that's why they're a little cheaper, because their defense isn't quite as good. Attack 1, wounds 1, and courage 3. Also, I believe Uruk-hai Warriors have a courage of 4. That's maybe another reason that you are paying 1 point less, I guess. So I think the Legendary Legion that the Quest of the Ringbearer book has come out with has kind of given these guys a new lease of life, because before, really, there maybe wasn't a lot of point in taking these guys over, say, Uruk-hai Warriors, just because they're not that much more expensive. They have a few more options. I mean, with Uruk-hai Warriors, you can spend 2 points for a crossbow, which is strength 4. I mean, why wouldn't you kind of, pick that profile that has a little bit more flexibility if you were playing Isengard? And also with Uruk-hai Warriors, you can take a pike, which is kind of cool as well. So, I mean, the cost of 1 less point doesn't really make much sense when you have the Uruk-hai Warriors. However, with the release of Quest of the Ringbearer, these guys get a lot more interesting. So if you take Uruk-hai Scouts with Lurtz and Maher, I think the profile is, in the same list, in the Legendary Legion list, these guys, their movement goes up to 8 inches, which is awesome. So if you take these guys as a Legendary Legion, the Lurtz Scouts Legendary Legion, all the scouts in your army go to movement 8 instead of movement 6. Now, that seems to give them a real bonus over the Uruk-hai Warrior profile if they're going to 8 inches. Now, with Mahar, Lurtz also goes to 8 inches as well. So that's really cool. Now, if you can imagine, when I saw that Legendary Legion list, the first thing that I thought was, with Uruk-hai Scouts, you could try and get as many bows in your army as possible with Maher to give them movement 8 with an 18-inch bow, which would be awesome, meaning that you could technically move 4 inches and still shoot. It's not too bad, but you could also, take a couple of turns to move closer to your enemy and shoot off a lot of strength 3 bows, which is pretty decent. So you'd have a lot of movement on a profile that also has a strength 3 bow. Another thing you could do is if you include a drummer, then you can add 3 inches onto their movement. So in a turn, if you had a drummer with Maher in the Legendary Legion Scouts list, the Lurtz Scouts list, you could technically move these guys 11 inches in a turn. Pretty cool. And if you had bows, you could kind of have a couple of turns of really flanking your enemy on the left or the right side of the board, getting out of their way and just kind of shooting off, trying to pick off things as they're kind of coming up through the board. So it's a really cool profile now. I think it's been made a lot more flexible just by that list. I don't know if I'd take it otherwise. I don't think it has the appeal other than that particular Legendary Legion list. But I will be playing some games with a list kind of built from that Legendary Legion, and I'll be making some content from it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like the format, I will keep going. If you have any feedback, let me know. And subscribe. This has been the Middle Earth Hobby Channel. Please subscribe.